Hello once again, and welcome back to another wild and crazy haphazard recording with your ultra-sensitive host, Lance Reynard. And I wanted to, of course, start out today by thanking all of my new subscribers and the people that have joined me in the past month and a half since I started this insane adventure in experiment. And I have discovered so many things and have been able to show so many things that I don't. So anyway, today we're going to be covering some comments which lead us in some curious avenues, and we're going to be looking at some strange anomalies in different areas in relation to maps. I found one in the 1400s I'm going to cover, and some that I don't like to go over the 1800s. I like to keep it I like to keep it pre-vibration period era. So let's go ahead and start looking at that. Thank you once again for joining me. And going into comments is easy enough. Just hop on into the old comments section and it pops right open for you. And then to go down to, not sure if you checked out Global Vision's channel or not, but he has some work on atmospheric electricity, Antiquitech, and some good stuff on resonators for such devices. Thanks for the heads up. Global Visions is a good way to go. 88 Shinto, keep up the haphazardness. I can't figure out how you don't have thousands of yeah. Your videos always amuse me. Yeah, I just started, so I can figure. No, it's no big deal. It's not about, for me it's just getting out the information. And here, Am2 Nate asked me to put out some Harley photographs. Thanks, man. Yeah, I did. I owned a photography company, and I have a standing deal with Harley Davidson. And since they sent me an email, it was like 20 years ago. And any images I show of Harley Davidson, I am required by my contract with them to give them 10% of anything I make. And so that's okay. I think Harleys are great. And yeah, showing their logos is my only trouble. And my private work is actually locked up. It's I've got tens of thousands of photographs that are digital. I started photography when you mentioned the internet to somebody. They would say, they didn't know what it was. Their neighbor had it. Yeah, my neighbor's got that. So I'd be down at Daytona passing out cards to people, say, here, look at your shot on the internet. And people would scratch their heads and, So those were the days when I had to write my own code and enter things on my own. Anyway, those images are locked up on what's called zip drives, and those zip drives are in Oregon right now, under the sound protection of my son's mother. So I apologize for not showing you any of the great shots. I got one of the first Indians off the line. I believe it was the 1999 bright yellow. The owner asked me to come out and shoot. It was a suicide shift Indian, beautiful. At any rate, Eric L. Krebs, want to give a shout out to you for the nice work. Thanks, Eric. I do what I can. Relly Belly, Jane Doe, Moria Egan, Bobby Roost, and of course White Tiger, and George Abdulonor. Very good to hear from all of you and your comments. I'm trying to get a Louis Lombardi. Well done, getting better all the time. And yeah, I've addressed some of your work in, I'm not sure if it's going to show up, of course, Serene, Christine, and some of the common commenters that I have mentioned in the past, and suggested you go run over and take a look at their content. And at this point, I am navigating through to get to some of the earlier comments that I have missed in the African architecture. I noticed there are quite a number. Christy McGowan, always a pleasure. Eric Bright, the Knights Who Say Ni are important to all of us. So thank you for bringing up Ni, because I think that's also an important detail in our lives. And Jason Dennis, kudos, man. Shout out to you, Jace. Thank you. Bear Morning Sun again. JH, sorry I missed you there. Well, I guess I didn't. Oh yeah, try Wise Up's channels. Yep, it's in my stuff. David Spradlin, always a pleasure. Mike C, Biggest D, big shout out to you, dude. Audrey Prey. Yes, talking about the Moors, thank you. Now I'm getting into some comments that we haven't seen. NyQuil, hey dude, thanks for the compliment. And here we have Louis Lombardi mentioning the gargantuan sprinkler systems, and I did check out the diameter of some of those. If you check Earth was stripped long ago and you look at the area where those diameters were, yeah. And he also talks about the coordinates on GE, which I've brought up in a past video with Google Earth, and 5110 coordinates that will take you all over in different places. DN pointing out the water feeders, yep, and I just mentioned that. And of course, Ika Freeman, always a pleasure to hear from Ika, and the curious anomalies that are all over our planet people are showing me. And Azad, kudos Azad, Emilio, and almost there to comments that I haven't seen. And in Hunting Titans, we have Randall R commenting that on the hand cursor looks to be on a partial turtle in 1528 in the Hunting Titans footprints video. I'd like to get to some other information. Logan mentioning the details of it's not missing, it's just under the snow in the African Antiquitech where our balls began. And there are a lot of funny sounding curiosities that are just true. So Randall R sends in, hey Emilio, Randall sends in, we want more juice, this is mind-blowing stuff, and it's on Randall's channel. And then mention that 2,000 mile long dragon and a 1,400 mile long man. And to get into some of this, Randall goes through and shows the areas where he can define or show definitions of here I'll get some of the
a hole or something, or it's headless, or that it's headless already, because you remember Genesis, what is it,
looking at the formations and doing a comparative reality between biblical comments and what you see in these geographic formations. And so yeah, I think it's interesting to be able to take, you know, Randall is a good Christian, that's fine, and good-hearted people need to do good things for good people. I think that should be all over, despite your determination of whether there is a creator, although I believe in one myself. But to look at the information that he conveys and the details.
Like the bump of it's wrong. I can't tell if it's vertical or lateral or horizontal for that matter.
And he goes through the details and the way he sees it and the information that he's received. I think that's important. That's what I do in essence. Thank you, Randall, once again. And even with these, you can see as I give them my loves and likes, nothing is showing up. Hopefully that will. And the navigation is a little difficult, but we will get back into a few more of these here. And thanks Flat Cat and Biggest D, always a pleasure to hear. Serene Christine, I can't bring you up enough. You're got a great channel. Free Mind Canada says maybe Rome is a Nubian empire. And yes, things to definitely consider. I apologize for not going through each and every video at this point. Just navigating and commenting back on some of these is a bit of a chore, but worth the time and effort to give appreciation. So we'll go into a few others. Oh, Multibrand 777. The island that still remains in Lake Superior is called Isle Royale, which is most infamous for being the source of all the ancient copper, as in 30 to 50 million, whoop, the screen, I didn't do that, by the way, as in 30 to 50 million tons of that was mined before Columbus arrived and messed things up. There is a reference to Thomas Jefferson, who stole there's a reference to Thomas Jefferson, who with the stroke adjustment of his pencil to the north included Isle Royale. And so yeah, well, how do you say, the deviations of the Jeffersons and all of the, like Washington chopping down the cherry tree, for instance, the metaphors in certain ways, and then the realities of who drew a line on a map. Yes, yes, very interesting. Address JD 1917, heads up. As the screen jumps around, I will try and catch who I can. Good one, new sub from the UK. Appreciate all your subs. I just, like I said, and I've mentioned, I've just gotten this channel started and have a variety of avenues that I would like to attack and address. And some of them have to do with editing movies, how movie producers and editors mess with each other a little bit, and also put things in possibly by accident, possibly, there are considerations too where somebody should, smell of a horse and, little things. JH, nice one. Thanks, JH. Sorry it took me so long. And Ilka, always a pleasure to show out your stuff. And I'm not sure, I believe I have checked this one out. So if I have, it'll disappear after I click it. I'm just going to go ahead and take a look at this video. Powers ruled the world to recreate a religion to allow control of the people based on Holy Crusade, cover up convictions. No, I have not seen this. Religion Bible, can you handle it? Can you handle the truth? Michael, all right, well, let's check out your video, referred by Ika. And so I'm going to go ahead and pop that on for a subscription. And thank you, Ika. I'm going to go through that in depth and thoroughly. Ilka, I'm terrible at pronouncing. I can't even pronounce my own name. DN, thank you, man. Doing what I can. And Susan Rogers, I think I glazed by you once before. The screen is jumping around on its own and making little things. I really enjoyed this. Two things was a hoot at the same time. Oh yes, I did go through this. Thanks again, Susan, for your nice comments, and thank you all for sending these in. I am going to try and get through these in private so that you don't have to go through all this screen jumping, but I just wanted to let you know that I do go through them, and I will find all of the fascinating details that you've sent in. And so now let's continue on. And Jane Doe's always got some great comments, and she's dealing with the Calicos Islands in this one. If you have not seen this movie, I would show it a lot. History of California, and tells many truths, like the naked Chinese guys washing up on shore. Same thing happened in Turks and Calicos Islands, except naked Haitians. Interesting, that is on What's Down Under, Tartaria. And a lot of these share as a tranny, Shanti lives. And yeah, I've known a good number of them. I lived in San Francisco. Them. People that, I'm not here to question people's life choices. I don't care what you want to put in your mouth. It's none of my business. But I've had a lot of tranny friends, and we've all gotten along just fine and well. I don't question people's decisions on how they handle their lives, as long as they're good-hearted people and are happy. Elephants are very into it, my friend. Linda Films, energy all over the world. Yeah, totally agree. Elephants are amazing creatures, and yeah, we should look into some of these videos and check out. I'm really sure it's having fun, enjoying, and finding out things that I really
this is from
have never seen. Linda Perez.
And it's a still, and I'll get you a couple more. And then
so,
but anyways,
this is astonishing footage.
Okay?
And looking for.
And I'll be back with another.
Oh, yeah, this is actual live footage. I did look at this. These are elephants. And there are like these fairy-looking things that show up. And these are actual elephants out here. And it's like one of those nature cameras. Check this out. It is really curious. It's like the fairies are playing with the elephants. It is a cool video. Thank you, Jane, once again. You always come up with some really neat stuff. And as I wanted to mention and have mentioned, that going through the videos or past comments is difficult because of the navigation that is that I actually have difficult. Hermetic genetics And the information on the star forts and the old Latin books by Curci as a reference. Thank you. Flat Cat. And always into different alternative views and or any views that are curious and interesting. And I do not condemn people for their lifestyle choices. It's not my business or job. I do make observations and calculate by those observations whether or not something's right for me, or somebody has other intentions than they're actually, purveying. So do the same, my friends, and I will muddle through this. I will continue to try to bring up my subscribers. David Thomas, shout out to you. The screen's jumping around. The earth changes shape like a vibrating drop of water. And then when it's money month, yeah, I agree. The earth does change shape. It moves around, and I'm not sure if it swallows us up or we get ejected. Free Mind Canada, heads up. Always good to hear from you. My screen's jumping again, and so as I was fumbling and bumbling through and watching my screen jump around on me, Azad mentions that the earth is flat. Martin Leedkey had sent in a month ago, and I think I gave him a quick comment. And if the screen quits jumping, cool, Lance, good work, mate. Oi, oi, and what's the chances of New Madrid having a star fort? Thanks, brother, liked. And yes, what are the chances of New Madrid having a star fort, and how many star forts do you think are buried? And thank you, Martin, I appreciate the comment and like. Rough cut, but enjoy the work. And yeah, I'm still really rough at what I do, but I appreciate all of the information. Well, thanks, chap. Jesse Laird, thank you. And Mark Sheldon, thank you very much for the compliment. And I'm once again trying to get back to the one I was just talking about. I read an article that Hitler sidestepped the central banks and produced the equivalent of Lincoln's greenbacks in Germany. And that's why the country was able to prosper. And that's possible. This Tartarian revelation is shaking the whole world. And yes, it is. And right, the creation of your own currency has been done over and over as far as our historical narratives go. And yeah, there are times when people buy into it, and there are times when people don't. And yes, the mud flood is some crazy shite. And I'm trying to get back into the areas that had me at Buffalo Bill. So there are a lot of other comments that we will be going through. It may take a little while for me to find them, but thank you for sending in your comments and ideas and videos. It's greatly appreciated. And now let's go ahead and get to the next part of the issue. Jane. All right, and the first one I wanted to look into was the Greek and Phoenician colonies. I'm sorry, Phoenician colonies. Sorry if you're Phoenician, didn't mean to call you phony, but I am Greek, or so I'm told. My father was 100%. His parents were both 100%. Heraclea? Question mark. I guess they weren't quite sure, so they just put down Heraclea, and I suppose that the two lines are designations of the both Greek and Phoenician. If you can see a color differentiation between these two, I'm sorry, I cannot. Maybe, and well, I am colorblind with reds, so that may explain it. So if you see those differences, God bless you. And if you're atheist, then I'm going to hell for saying that to you. But anyway, the details of these maps in the ages and times. So here we go. Alalia. Alalia. Do, you got me on my... No singing. And the Argentarius. Argentarius. Interesting. It's kind of Argentinian, isn't it? And isn't that like right at in the Italian? Okay, I gotta take a quick look at this. Here, I'll just pop into Google Oit and look at some of these strange little differences. I didn't see an actual date on this specific map. It is from a book of old maps, and in order to look at those, you'd have to, you know, be on their website and have a reserved view of a certain amount to see. So let's pop on over to the Italia area here and investigate that curious place that I was just looking at. Give it a little spin, run it over, and zoom on in to the approximate location that I was just looking at. I'll need to put on my places and maps, or borders and labels and places. Why not? Throw caution to the wind. Go crazy with it. And Island Ibella. I was looking for the Argentinian name, which I think was, okay, Islo di Ibella, Elba. I apologize for anyone who lives in Elba, or di Elba, and see Isla di Elba. So, right. Folinka. Now, I'm looking for the Argentina name, I believe. Let's take another quick preview and back off of this slightly. Well, there's this is that the Ibola. There we go. Ibola Hercules. And so let's go ahead and pop back in here and take a look at these islands real quickly here. And Isla del Gigolo, and so oh, I'm sorry, Giglio. And we've got Porto Santo Stefano, and Talamone. No singing. It's my alter ego, my alternate side personality. I don't see it. I'm looking for that Argentina, and there's where they invented liver. Livorno. Oh, it's Livorno. I know there's one where they invented bologna, though, for sure. At any rate, this is Corsica, and can you do it? Of course you can. And let's see, Angelico. So I'm looking for these land masses and islands that are shown here in this map, and I'm pretty sure I am actually looking at them, but missing. There's Hercules, but no, I didn't find it on the other one. But Corsica is right there, and so I did it, and of course I could. And so directly across from Corsica, what I once again am looking for, so that I don't become too overly distracted, is the Argentina name right there, right across from, well, there, yeah, Corsica. So directly across from Corsica, you have this Telamon area right here. So I'm going to pop back over there real quick, and directly across from Corsica is the Telema area, right? Not there. But you know, they like to change names on a semi-occasional basis. I know I like to change my name every once in a while. What? And Umbria. Yeah, well, it must rain a lot there, because you got to have an Umbria if you go there, or a few Umbrias. All right, I just wanted to give a quick Monte Cristo. That's where the movie was made. Oh man, I sure miss that place. The Count of Isla di Monte Cristo. So popping in there and looking at the texture of Monte Cristo, it sure looks biological to me in the crisscross ways of biology. But then that's just me. And now let's get back to some more of these details in this little Hummer right here. So plan as you, all right. Looking at the overall detail of this map, it's really well done. It's done by, who did this? Quickly I say, up Williams or somebody. The name of the map maker himself is right up here in the upper corner, if I ever get to it. Right there, Dr. William Smith's Ancient Atlas. I wonder where he got a hold of it. Ancient. All right. Well, once again, I just wanted to check out a couple of these details. These names are interesting to me. Zakynthus and Zakatha. Zakentha, Seguntum. And they have question marks. Is this Sikana? Maybe it is, maybe it's not. And here's a mud fossil town called Hermeroscopium. Hermeroscopium. Wow. Hermeroscopian. You couldn't add anism at the end of that? Because, I mean, if I were living there, I might have Hermeroscopium anism. Or I might be a Hermeroscopium itis sort of thing. But I like adding lots of letters to words to make them extremely long. Personally, I wanted my first son's name to be Schmepforp-Smeepzoid, but there are 37 letters in that name, and he would have to spell it every time that he, used his credit card or needed identification. So no, I'm missing a lot of these things in this particular, in the Google Earth area. Although the Isla di Monte Cristo, I didn't check to see if that were in this map right here. And it's real easy to find because you just go over to Italy or the area of Italia. Sorry about the screen jump. And right, the response of this is just fantastic. All right, so now let's take a look at the Count de la Monte Cristo, which was probably right here in the gymnasium area. Belarus Gymnasia. So yeah, that's where they had the gymnasiums back in those days. And don't ask me. I'm just like, I'm as baffled as what? And I'm not seeing the Monte Cristo. I'm going to check one more time. We've got Sardinia here, Corsica there. Pop on in over here. Back off a tad. Sardinia and Corsica are right. There's the Giglio, and no, and back off again. And now I'm starting to freak out. Capria, Corsica, right. And so the whole landmass, this is Corsica here, and then the whole Sardinia is here, right? And so then all I was curious about, it's curious, these all this dried paint that looks so much like ocean bottom. Right, there's the Monte Cristo, and it is in between Corsica and Follonica. Corsica and Follonica. And so just looking at this map, it's like what the map maker, I mean, this is a highly intricate map, detailed. You would think that that island, Artemisia, and Ilium, and my first curiosity was Argentarius. It's like Argentina and Aquarius mixed. There must have been a bunch of peaceful Argentinians that moved into Cosa, just like house. All right, well, maybe it's just me. Right, so some unidentified or Athalia Ilva, and it's not catching it at all. So just looking for the Count of Monte Cristo, wondering whether or not he had, he's been trapped there, if they had a little emblem saying, man incarcerated on island sort of thing. So at any rate, I'm not catching any of that. However, there are a few other interesting areas and details that we could investigate. In concerning all of these islands in the Milos, Thera, Amphi area and their designations as, I suppose it would be Phoenicians. We'll go ahead and take a look at that briefly on the Google Earth. Let's go ahead and zip back a touch and run on down to this neck of the woods here and take a look at the actual area in which I am surveying. And it is, excuse me for the screen jump once again. And I am dealing down below far down below, around Seriphos. And now these islands down south of the Grecian area are, there's Athens, for instance. These are, you know, they've been there forever. I'll take a quick look at just the number in this area on Google Earth. There's just a massive amount of islands down here below the Grecian area. And as I go here, I see once again a massive amount of islands. But let's start from the lowest one here, taking a look at what is the name of this particular island. Looks like Crete, or Crete. Take a look at that quickly on Google Earth, and Crete, right here, Crete. And now just to adjust the angle to match up a little better with the map that we're working with. I think it's kind of like there. Let's see. Yep, that would be pretty close. Now, looking at the islands around Crete, or Crete, we've got the two down here and one teeny one there and two up on the right in the Libyan Sea area. To go back to this, we have the two down here, one up on the right, and I got 1, 2, 3 around the lower edge, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 around the lower edge. And now let's take another look at the whether I was mistaken in that. No, I got 1, 2, 3 here, and 5 on there. So now on the front tip over here above Precious, we have a 3 island area right there that shows up quite clearly right here. Oh, that's where the dragons are from, and it is a 3 island area. Draganda, Axelantre. I just wanted to check these little minor, seemingly insignificant details can often bring you into some amazing revelations. And the relationship between the Crete area, Sea of Crete, this area right here, and the map maker's ability to actually, get things right. And this is, like I say, a highly detailed and specific map. And I think it's really well done, but it is missing certain islands. I like this little string of islands here above Carpathos. And so this little string of 1, 2, and these double and a single. And it is interesting that some of these things are still here, just like they show on the map. And other ones are gone. And so is this the, yes, Carpathos and Olympos. Yeah, I picked a good one. And now that string of islands that run across this way, and there was a double island out this way, and there were a line of singles. And now I see a little bit different setup than I see on this. Let's see, from Carpathos, we have a string off to the left. Carpathos, yes, there's the string off to the left. But a divergence in Sephora and whatever these little dots are, whether they're actual inhabitable or inhabited islands. Avco, anybody living in Avco, give me a jingle or send me a message, or a homing pigeon would be fine. And now notice once again, you just see a little fuzzy blur blob when other areas of Google Earth, I mean, hey, I can see the waves. I'm surprised I don't see seagulls flying around. At any rate, we're going to go ahead and go into another section of a different map. The land of Hyperborea is totally missing in this one, and so the date on this particular map, I wonder if the date actually shows. Take a quick preview. They have all sorts of blurry dates. I don't see one specifically in this particular view. So, considering that, now Iceland is here, but Friesland is not. So this is a more recent map and discarded. Away with thee, I say. This is interesting. What is the year of this? curious. There's Mexico in the middle of a city. I'm sorry. There's Mexico in the middle of a lake. I didn't know Mexico was in the middle of a lake. Who knew that? And it's got these castles. This is a fairly curious and interesting map. I've got to take a quick preview of this. What is going on with this? Let's check out Mexico. I mean, this is not... Okay, and just to make sure I get it right, see, there's Mexico, right? And Mexico City, yeah, I didn't know that was in the middle of a big lake. Huh. Let me take a quick look at this. Well, it doesn't look like it is here, but it sure does look like it is there. Huh. Well, that's curious. Maybe it's a different Mexico in some part of Europe or something. The Mexico in a lake. Mexicalangio. I guess this guy was tripping. And look at this. There's a bunch of fires up in the hills. There's fires in them there hills, boy. Unless those are, you know, flowing hair. There's a lot of trolls and blondes with long flowing hair. It doesn't really look. I don't know. Is that fire or what? This is a crazy map. I can't take it anymore. I've got to run. It is a mind-boggling little piece of the Lago Dulce, the Lake of Dulce. All right. So at least they got one Venetian-looking boat going over here to Mesquiqui in Venezuela. Okay, now I'm kind of catching it. Maybe this is just a different viewpoint, more of an Alice in Wonderland viewpoint. And thanks for that, Mr. Carroll, for drawing that one. Just taking a look at some of these maps and the dates in the maps and the clarity of the maps is relatively unfortunate. So sorry about that. The Louisiana Territory and New Mexico. Man, if they'd have only built a wall, huh? But anyway, Quivira, and looking at the names now, Chicago and Chicago, etc., you know, Florida has always been there. And New Navarra, California is attached in this map. And so this is one of those more recent maps that I just can't take it anymore. Now it says Mexico in 1794. 1794, you say? And that was prior to the New Madrid earthquakes. I wonder how real this actually is because of these curiosities that don't seem to show up. Although the river, the Colorado, is that the Colorado? And then there's the Mississippianus, which is somewhere in this neck of the woods, but you just really can't define it unless it's part of this borderline. Strange and curious indeed. And there may be other things that you're noticing that I am not quite catching, but in these illustrations that are, I found one, which I'm going to go ahead and get right now. Okay, this is the one that I was looking for, and it is a map from the 1400s, and if you'll notice, the page is upside down. If I turn the page around, you can read the information on the page. However, see how this is upside down? James Campbell, curious names, worked with Edison, said that once was a difficult problem, yada yada woof woof. Right, he's highly admired. But the thing is, the map itself, I start looking at it, it's a 1400 map, one of the earliest I've seen, and it's the castles upside down. So I thought it only right to write the castle and then take a look at the map. And if you do that, you will notice that of course the writing is extremely difficult to decipher. However, you'll notice that it is right side up. The E, the N, the G. You can make out different words slightly. I've looked this over briefly and notice there are some words. This is a squared off area, almost looks like a ticket sort of thing. But then getting into the castle here, if I back off slightly, And now you might be able to make out some words, but you saw that castle is right side up, and there's some sort of little merry-go-round tent looking thing down here. Now if you back off and you consider this is a map of the world, okay, and try to define your orientation within this map of the world, it all seems, first of all, to me to be connected all the way through, all the way around. Who would take the time to draw out this I mean, there's a lot of information on here, and to write all the details down. And then why would they put it in here upside down? Very curious. See, you can make out a 150 right here, but as far as actual articulate FED, and it looks like the word ambiguous right there, which this thing is entirely ambiguous. But to look it over thoroughly, EVNAL, Vanilla, yeah, and to make out any words at all. But you can see right here, AND or AI, D, addendum, addition, possibly. And so you can see these letters are right side up. And now I guess my overall curiosity, and there's some more that are obviously right side up, this little castle. All right, now you look at all these towns. These are each of these dots are towns, and each of these structures are castles, or I don't know, are they designating a larger town? It's curious. And then you've got all these different lakes, and in this area, this looks like a European sort of a area to me right here. If I back off a little bit more, you will see the possibility of that being and so Siberia would be up over here. But all of these dots are cities, and all of these names written on here are cities. And what is this? I mean, it says it's a world map from 1410, I think it was. Shoot me if I'm wrong. Ancient map of the Sea Kings. Now this page is upside down. That's my point. It's given like this, and it's defined as the treasure hunt begins. Dealing with an expert is a man who knows everything or nearly everything, and usually thinks he knows everything important in his field. If he doesn't think he knows everything, at least he knows that other people know less, and thinks that amateurs know nothing. Is that how it is? Okay, I'm going to have to jot that down. And so he has an unwise contempt for his amateurs. I just don't like you people because you're so stupid. Despite the fact that there's no... So this guy has a pretty good attitude. I think he's ripping the people that put down anybody who doesn't know more than they. There it is, 1448. Curious little anomalies that I just had to address in that early map. So here's another early one as well. I like the Septentrio, which is the north area, as they say, north. And right, which way? I mean, is this the correct orientation of this? Because as I look at it, I see these letters appear to be upside down over here. These appear to be to the left side, and there's probably some going to the right side. So this is what? A world map? Medieval world map. Well, who knew? Let's just go ahead and turn that. Take a look at the meaty of evilness and just check it all out, because I'm into medieval stuff. I was a member of the Society for Creative Anachronism. As a matter of fact, I was an honorary member due to certain facts of my ability to make pictures. General Attire, General Leader. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing anything except for a couple naked women picking, I don't know. Is she? Looks like she's looking at it with a magnifying glass, checking the trichones or something. I don't know. Jen Cerise, and no, not this one. Let's go ahead and pop onto the next view of an old ancient map, and then wonder why these guys are all blowing stuff around. See, these are just confusing. In my humble opinion, they show little to nothing. I'm sure you could glean or glaze some form of information, but now this looks like obfuscation to me. That's the world map of Ptolemy, and so everyone loves that guy, and I adore him. I know I've got a statue of him in my bedroom. And what else do we have here? The map of Pomponius. The map of Pomponius. Huh. Well, who knew? I've been missing that guy's maps forever. And by the look of his map making, I mean, I always am so curious. Okay, I'm going to turn it one more time. As the amount of time and effort that it takes to, no, I've got to turn. It seems like there's no orientation to this particular piece. Like, okay, here you can see there are letters that are coming proper for us, like Africa is relatively Africa Minor, Nostradamus. But see, then India is sideways. So if you want to get that right, then you got to look this way. So now who made this? Because I'm gonna find them in afterlife and just stomp them all over the place. Pomponius. All right, pal, coming for you. Yeah, I don't like confiscation. I would prefer like simplification. That's just me. Here's a little bit of the old where Terra del Fuego, Antarctica, as they say. And is this the southern tip of South America? Yeah, that's pretty much that area. And just, oh, there it says right down here. The Antarctic on Mercator's map 1568. And that is a curious detail in that it's like, can you step across there? I didn't realize it was that close. I mean, let's go to Google Earth and take a quick preview of that detail. Because that just seems what to me. And so yeah, the bottom part of South America is right here. Just touching. Yeah, it's not just touching anymore. It appears we have a little bit of a space going on here. I wonder what that space is. Is this how I do it? No, I don't want to put a polygon on there. I want to measure from here in miles from, say, this tip. Whoops. Dreadfully sorry. This tip to this tip. 657 miles. 657. So from here to here, 541, still 500 miles. But in this over here, it looks like it's like touching. That's 500 miles. It doesn't look like no 500 mile to me, mister. Looks like there's a couple little islands in between. They're almost touching. All right. Well, that's obvious. So I guess I've seen enough of that. Just to kind of show that part and how this swoops around over here. Now, what if this part that swooped around over here at one time was back over this way? Yeah, and what is this? I mean, why was this put together like that? I mean, is that an actual image of the ocean bottom? Never could quite get that. So, otherwise I'd be looking for treasure maps and ships and, you know, pyramids, people's faces, you know, giant peni, whatever, Cook Island, you know, petrified things. And, right, and then this curvature here is my present curiosity, which I don't want to become too distracted, but it almost seems like this was, if you think, and you push all this back to that area, yeah, I wonder if the place liquefies every once in a while and stuff just shifts around or what's going on. Because if that were the truth, then we might have a little bit more of a, you know, a lot more destruction than we see now. So I have 3 different philosophies and theories on that. And yeah, go across some of that. I like to look at these old maps and then consider what's going on here and now and what they actually offered as information. This is turned, and we'll zoom in here. It is Reynard map of the Indian Ocean in 1510. And so there you go. There's the Indian Ocean in 1510. That's definitive. I'm glad I had a good look at that. Another curious one with ley lines for us to find our soulmate. And 1508. And yes, these lines, I still haven't done my investigation now. These aren't specifically ley lines in this one. That was extremely humorous and one of the funniest jokes I've ever told. But these are just strange little lines. And what are they there for? Now, why do you keep throwing lines all over my map? And I'm trying to look at the names of cities and this and that. And talk about... Let's throw spider webs across everything we're going to try to look at. And right, just there's a big city up here. It must be Venice, is Venetia, and designated as a big, what is that? Strange, very strange indeed. The way this map maker put it together, and we'll just see who it was. And it was Andrea, been in casa. Well, Andrea's been in your house, apparently, because he drew this map. Anyway, some of the strange things that we have to deal with in looking at curious maps and anomalies in maps and seeing what parts. Now, what I'm running across more and more is the obfuscation of what we are able to actually get our hands on. These people dancing around over here. They've got this guy herding sheep and cattle. He's cattle out in the middle of the ocean, and I don't know, a dancing monkey over here. So a lot of strange little things these map makers must have, you know, I suppose you got a lot of time on your hands when you're making a map and probably tend to, you know, use that time in strange ways. Right. So I haven't found, now here finally we have something that's got something going on with California as a massively huge island. And right, and a lot of people have looked at this 626 map or 1626, but this is the idea of prior to the huge mud flood, or one of them, where this was separated, and I once was separate, but now I'm whole. And yeah, this was vibrated in or shaken down, and look at the differences in the Great Lakes areas. A lot of differences here. One of my curiosities has always been in the Floridian area, how much more land was there available prior to the big shakedown, is what I might want to call it. The big vibration. And New Granda. And so often I'm going through so quickly I will miss little details that other people are like, oh wait, stop, it's right there, it's right in front of you. And I don't. So I apologize for doing that. And now this part right here and all these islands, I mean, there are just so many, and they come up so far along the Floridian coast. They're not there, they're all down here. And they'll go, well, the map makers were, yeah, whatever, they got all this part right though. And then how much really shakes apart? How much really shakes apart? And they had big snails in the ocean back in those days. Giant ocean snail. And I've mentioned this particular map, I believe, in the past, or it's the same map maker, because it is kind of exciting, kind of unusual, and kind of curious that we would have fashions. Now, this is what the King of New England looked like. There's the King of New England. He had a nice headdress and wore roadkill. And over here we have very colorful Mexican dress, the Women of Mexico, or the WO, the Wandering Orphans of Mexico. I think it's women. And then there's the King of Florida. Now see, guys, come on, bring back the King of Florida. Who's with me? King of Florida. He has a tattooed leg. He's kind of hanging out with a big stick. You know, he's sort of a walk softly and carry a big stick under a Virginian. And there's the Virginian minion with a chest plate on and a cute little... I mean, where do they get these outfits? This guy, like, almost seems like, pardon me for saying it, but he seems like he's condescending these people, but for Greenlandia. And this is what people in Greenlandia wear, and this is how they stand. Very passive and humble means, with a little smirk on their face. Don't mind me, and I'm having no port of it. And Som Domingo. Yes, I have seen this before. I saw it in Adremia, or in one of my past videos, yes. Cartingia. Cartagena. There's Mexico, of course, naturally, Mexico, and we're not going to mark this one. It's just curious with a little step pyramid, and it says Evsko. Evsko. Alright, maybe it's a supermarket. Looks like parking area over here. And so we have H of Mocha. That's where you pick up the Java. That's the old Starbucks right there. The Hot Mocha. And Rio de Janeiro. That's where the casinos were. And Olinda. And that's where the spas and salons were. And so now we have the Peruvian dress. I mean, all of this dress stuff, man. And quit showing your stuff. I don't want to see that. You Brazilian, I like that. Brazilians. How many is that? And yeah, we got some naked Brazilians. As I mentioned once, I once told a woman I dated a Brazilian, and she asked me how many was that. And Amokin, you guys got to lay off the caffeine a little, I think. Just go with some decaf. And Magellanica. She went all the way around the world, I think. There's a story about Magellan, somebody or other, who apparently created the globe, the ball. And so that's fun. So at least we had a little bit of fun here in the haphazard universe, looking at these ultra strange details. The pre-vibration maps, I like that stuff. The pre-vibration, pre-New Madrid earthquakes that lasted a month or more, a couple of months. It's crazy talk and craziness, and that's why we're going through some of these for the fun and okay, there we go. The fun and curiosities and blurriosities. Europa Tabula, and yeah, and what areas are really obfuscated, and what are they? What's showing on some of these? And where do we still have a German Ocean? I don't know. Somebody from Germany, you know, give me a call. Let me know, because every map I see has Ocean Germanicus, and it's like that's a German Ocean. And so, right, we're going to be going through some more of these types of details here, and also a lot more curious and fascinating information brought up by my commenters and subscribers, in more than just observing, more than just the surface anomalies, and dealing with how, you know, I don't like to get too conspiratorial, but how we are being played in different ways. Just to bring it up as let's have a look at this. I think that's important for us to do without, you know, getting too freaky deaky about some of the details in our universe. Ew. What the what? I don't know. So yeah, that's a lot of these. This is how they gave a foot massage in the. I'm not gonna go there, but yeah, these are fun, and I hope so. Thanks for playing, and come back again to watch another strange and unusual haphazard production. Talk to you soon, hopefully.